Hey guys, how's it going today? We got a beautiful day out here today. I want to welcome you all to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about the 4 biggest mistakes that I see people making in the gym. With quarantine and COVID and everything, a lot of the gyms now are starting to open back up here in Canada. They have been open for a couple weeks now. Hopefully we don't see any more outbreaks where they get shut down. But I do want to talk about the 4 things that I see most people doing wrong in the gym. Mistake number 1, first and foremost, I see a lot of improper form from people. I get people who come in all the time looking at my store, looking for joint care supplements, things like that. Not just for overall health, but because like, oh, well, when I bench, my elbow or my shoulder really hurts. Well, if your elbow and your shoulder is really hurting you and it makes it hard for you to do an exercise, that usually means that you're doing it incorrectly. So something like your shoulder and your elbow, instead of being down here at like a 45 degree, most people flare their elbows up. Now, when your elbow is up here, your shoulder is taking the brunt of that weight. The chest is a really big, strong muscle. You should be able to push more weight with your chest than you should with your shoulders. Especially because your shoulders, a lot of the time when you're putting them in a position, you're putting them in a weak position. A lot of the problems that I do see with people is that they do have improper form. It leads to injuries, which means that you can't train anymore. It leads to, soreness. And honestly, it just leads to not seeing results. Like if you're sitting here with your elbows flared out, using your shoulders on a bench press all the time, you're going to be building your shoulder up. Then you're going to get discouraged because your chest isn't growing. So it's about understanding the proper forms for stuff. So I really do think that if you can afford to hire a personal trainer to help show you proper techniques and things, go right on ahead. That is a phenomenal idea. They're all certified. They all have been through it. They know. Or even YouTube. If you want to research videos, check out guys like Michael Hearn, Simeon Panda. Those are 2 guys that I really enjoy watching. Obviously, if you look at Michael Hearn, he's like 55 years old, somewhere around there. He's in phenomenal shape still. Simeon Panda has been training for well over 10 years, or around 10 years at least, I should say. Very knowledgeable guys. You can see the form that they have. Just making sure that you have good form, good correct posture, everything. Making sure that you're bracing your body when you're doing things is how you're going to avoid injuries, and it's how you're going to allow yourself to grow. And that's the goal, is obviously to build muscle and help you lose some weight for most people, and proper form is really going to help you with that. I see a lot of people in the gym who just don't have it. Alright, so mistake number 2 that I see a lot of people do in the gym: not putting enough tension on your muscles or having time under tension. For example, like if you're doing a bicep curl and you're really throwing your arm up and then just letting it fall back down, you're not really working the muscle. You're just moving weight in an inefficient way from point A to point B back down to point A. And it's one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people in the gym doing, is that they literally are just moving the weight from point A to point B. How you correct this, or how I found the best way to correct this, is that really flexing the area or firming up the area that you want. So like I said, in a bicep curl, when I do it, I actually flex my bicep and my tricep at the same time. When I go up with a slow controlled motion, and I actually let it back down with a slow controlled motion. And what that does is that puts the muscle under tension both ways. It really tears your muscle fibers down, and that's obviously how muscle growth works. You're tearing muscle fibers down, feeding it with your nutrition to repair the muscle fibers, and then tearing them down, breaking them down again, and then letting them grow back bigger and stronger. That's how you build muscle. That's the principle of building muscle. At the end of the day, if you're just going like this with a bicep curl and there's no tension and it's not a nice controlled movement, you're not tearing those muscles down. That's how I've always done it, is that I focus on the muscle that I'm working on, understanding how it's going to move, and everything is a slow controlled movement. It doesn't matter whether I'm bench pressing, it doesn't matter if it's a squat, if it's a deadlift, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're finding some way to keep that muscle under tension all the way down, all the way up. For a lot of beginners out there, and for a lot of people in their first year of training, This is a very difficult thing to do. Mind-muscle connection is very hard to generate, and it takes years of dedication and practice to learn how to correctly, get that mind to muscle connection. I want to give you some examples of time under tension when doing a workout. So today I've been doing chest, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways of getting some time under tension doing a dumbbell chest press. There's a few different ways of doing it. So here, my core is engaged, I'm flexing my chest, I'm actually flexing my upper back as well. Nice and controlled and up. Nice and controlled and up. That's one way of doing it. The other way I do it is I do isolation movements. So I'll do one arm at a time. As you can see, even this is nice and controlled. And that really helps put some time under tension. Those are a couple ways. When you do any exercise, make sure that your core is engaged, whatever muscle you're trying to flex, and then the antagonist muscle, so basically the one opposite of it, is contracted as well, and you will get a good time under tension contraction. You can also do some pause reps as well. So you go slowly down, get to the bottom, hold, and then up. Those are just a bunch of different ways. You will feel lactic acid buildup in your muscles as you're doing these, especially on pause reps or isolation movements. That is a good thing. That is something you'll have to slowly build a tolerance up of, but these are just a few good ways of doing the same exercise but differently and getting that time under tension, as well as never letting your body get used to what you're doing. All right, guys, so last two mistakes here I see are people who are either lifting too heavy or they're not lifting heavy enough. When you're trying to lift, it needs to be challenging. And if you're hitting, I would say 12 to 15 repetitions on something and your muscles are not filling up with lactic acid, you're not struggling on those last reps, you're not going hard enough. You're not going heavy enough. So you need to find a way to add weight to that, even a small increment of 5 pounds. So if you're doing a 20-pound dumbbell curl and you can easily hit 15 reps and it's not really doing anything, well, go up to 25. Go up to 30 if you even have to. It needs to be challenging. I see the same people going in, doing the same exercises all the time with the same weight, the same rep range, and then they wonder why they're not getting any bigger or their body composition isn't changing. Your body is a master of adapting. So when you're doing the same thing over and over, your body's going to adapt to it, and then you're not going to see change. And then on the opposite end of that is that there are people who go too heavy. It's great to have a spot, and it's really good to figure out what your 1 rep maximum is. Being able to hit those kind of numbers, but know that I can do it on my own, is really, really important. So I'm not going to go out there and then be like, oh, well, today I'm just going to throw 3 plates on it for whatever reason. You got to make sure that you're not going too heavy. If you can't push something up for at least, I would say 4 reps, it's probably too heavy for you. The best way to do it is to figure out what your 1 rep max is, and then you probably want to be at about, I would say, on average, 80% of what that 1 rep max is. I just see a lot of people there throwing their too much weight around, their form goes completely to garbage, then they're lifting with muscles that they're not even trying to work out, and it's not a good thing. That's how you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to break down muscle properly at that point. You're not going to be working out properly at that point. Making sure that you do find what weights are challenging for you, but you can still do is really important. Finding out it's not going too heavy and it's not going too light. 2 huge problems I see a lot of people make. I've seen a lot of people hurt themselves doing it, as well as, getting frustrated with results because they're not challenging themselves. These are the top 4 mistakes that I do see a lot of people making when they're working out, when they're in the gym. So, make sure that you get out there, take good care of yourself, make sure your nutrition is good, and make sure you're lifting properly. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that. It really means a lot. I appreciate the support, and we'll see y'all again.